Hi, Nina. Thank you so much for rejoining me this week. I've had such a massive response from your last session. We had to have you back. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. That's amazing to hear that everyone's so
Oh,
interested.
people have been absolutely captivated with your story and the actual the hypnosis of it, the QHHT practice itself. Now, a little bit of a funny story. She won't mind me telling you because she's a cracking woman. Is this lady? Now, I see a lady for some healing. She's a lovely woman, and she'd come for some healing last week, and she has scratched one of her corneas. And she'd said to me, after listening to your session about the lady that had in a past life had gouged people's eyes out as a punishment, she messaged me and she went, Stacey, do you think that part of me doing this with my corneas is because I've been somebody right horrible in a past life? Well, I have set off laughing, bless her. So I think we've worked out that perhaps it was that she's not seeing something or she needs to
Yeah.
take a fresh look at something rather than
Yeah.
that she's been some sort of horrible ruler, perhaps. Would
Yeah,
you
no, I
agree?
doubt she's been an ancient ruler gouging people's eyes out. It was probably something in the moment, like, and it was like a little like, come on, take notice of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we last spoke, I missed all the information about you as a person, and I just wanted all the right, give me all the information. So, can we just go back a little bit? So, how did you get into the hypnosis side? What was it that drew you there?
Well, well,
Well,
I've always been a spiritual person. Yeah, I say that. No, I've always been interested in, the paranormal, the spiritual, God, that connection. I wanted to be a nun when I was a little
did you
girl.
really?
I really did. Yeah, I
How
really did.
interesting.
Yeah, I really wanted to be a nun. So I watched a black and white film with
Yeah,
I think it was Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth the First, and she, one of these black and white epics.
yeah.
And Elizabeth the First had put Mary Queen of Scots in the Tower somewhere. I think it was the Tower of London, and so the Mary Queen of Scots was very pious, and in this scene on the film, she was wearing this sort of nun outfit, and all she did every day was pray to God. And I thought, that's wonderful. That's what I want to do. Now, anybody that knows me would know I would have been a really bad nun because I was so rebellious when I was a kid and when I was when I was a teenager. So I was a
Oh,
goth when I was a
oh, well,
teenager.
yeah.
Yeah, proper goth. Yeah, I literally, all I wore was black. I had a lip ring, a nose ring, pillow
Did
box,
you?
red hair. I went through a phase where I had my hair all braided. It was down to my waist and it was absolutely massive. Yeah, I used to go clubbing to trance techno and,
Did you?
and I studied fashion in London. So yeah, so I was wild with
Oh,
my outfits. So I would have been a terrible nun because there's no way that I could have I could have been going on with the outfit because it just wasn't fashionable at all. But
well, you
yeah,
could have brought the nunnery more modern. You know what I
well,
mean?
well, they definitely would have. Yeah, it would definitely have been revolutionised if I'd have been in there. But yeah, so all the way through my teens, whenever you went on holiday, like you'd buy a book to take on holiday because it was before the
Yeah,
internet, then, and so, but I would always buy alternative books into, theories on religion, spirituality, paranormal, ancient world, civilizations, all
yeah.
that sort of thing. I read the Bible code books. I read pagan books. I read Robert Hancock's fingerprints of the gods, and so I was really interested in like this ancient civilization, ancient history. How did they build the pyramids and everything, from the Mayans to the Aztecs and the Incas and everything? I was always fascinated with all of that, and the spiritual and paranormal side of things. And it was around that time that I came across Michael Newton. So the three biggest names in the world at past life regression are Dolores Cannon, Michael Newton, and Brian Weiss. Arguably, you could say Dolores Cannon is the biggest in the actual method, QHHT. But Michael Newton's, I read his book, Life Between Lives, which is his method. So they're all sort of similar. But yeah, I think that Dolores is the deepest, I feel. Okay. But I read this book and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it talks about all the places in between lives, what you might like to call heaven on the astral side. And all this information that would come out from having a session. And so that was when my interest first began. And I considered having a session back then. It was a lot more difficult to find anybody back then, but I did find somebody in Warrington, and I never got round to it because life was really busy. Then I got married in my early 20s and my job was very busy. I started working for my family's commercial cleaning company at the age of 21. Yes. And then I never had a session because life took over. I was still interested in all my spiritual stuff, but my having children and having my career really took over. And so I spent 26 years in my family's commercial cleaning company, which is a big company. It's a national commercial cleaning company. And my dad sadly passed away in 2010. So myself and my brothers were running that, and we grew that. It's still going now. I left in March to do this full time, and I was the marketing and brand director. So in the cleaning world, I had to be, I won't have to be, but I ended up being the face and the voice of my family's commercial cleaning company, and obviously marketing it and doing all of that. So I'm reasonably well known in the cleaning industry. It's not very spiritual. But yeah, I made things.
I don't know. Cleansing is a good bit of spirituality. Absolutely.
Bit of physical cleansing, yeah. And in the Manchester business community. So I always kept involved with my spirituality, and my fascination with that and reading, and then obviously going, looking at everything on the internet. And then 2018, there was challenges in my life, and things were I found things extremely difficult, and I wanted to find a way to support myself differently. I felt like I needed to, everything was so loud that I needed to flick the switch off. And so of the noise, and find a different way to support myself. So I had 12 months of counselling. I did a 10-week spiritual development course, and I started with a high performance business coach that I remained with for 5 years.
Right.
And that slowly helped me then, I was really doing the deep inner work then from 2018, not just with, say, my performance coach, who was brilliant. I came across Dolores Cannon probably just before that, so about 8 to 9 years ago, and I think it was on Facebook the first time, and I started seeing all these videos of this old lady, thinking, who is this old lady?
Who is she?
She is amazing, and of course was talking about the same stuff that Michael Newton was talking about, that I'd read about 25, 30 years before. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then it got to 2023, and again there was a big crunch point with a few things that were going on that year, and I just made the decision I need to change my life completely. And I thought, right, that's it. I am signing up to become a QHHT practitioner, and I'm leaving my family business. So I trained for a year in secret.
Did you?
I did. Yeah, I did. I trained in secret at the weekends and at night time. I did my full-time job in the day, which was really high pressured and lots of it.
Yeah.
And it took me a year. I did about 300 hours of training. Like, yeah,
Right.
because you have to complete a certain number of sessions as
Yeah.
well as the training. And so I did that, and then started obviously practicing, and then decided, I left my family business this March to do it full time.
You see, that's a big step, isn't it? That's a big step from knowing that you've got your family there, and you know, you're in a family business where, yes, although working with family can be hard, there is that support system, isn't there? And you've got that, you know, you've got that security of a wage coming every month, every week, every whatever. You know, you've got all that security to go, do you know what? I've trained in secret for a year and I'm leaving. Do you know what I mean? That's a massive step, isn't it?
It's a massive step. It's but it's my, I believe I honestly feel like I'm just meant to do it.
Yeah.
I'm meant to do it. And the first year that I started working with my performance coach, who's wonderful, he's called Matt Fowler from Incredible Thinkers. Yeah. He made me go through this process to understand what it was that I wanted out of my life. So we read Simon Sinek's book. Well, he asked me to read Simon Sinek's book, Find Your Why, which is a wonderful process to go through, actually. I really do recommend it to people, because you get friends involved as well who will tell you how they see you from their perspective, and then you go through like stories from your childhood, like most important things that were, say, triggering, or what you really love about your life. And the end goal is to create a paragraph statement, which took me 6 months to write. I carefully chose every single word in this paragraph. I'll tell you it in a second, which describes what your why is. So basically, like, your purpose for being here. And so my why is to help people discover their pathway to a life of positivity and self-belief, so that they can live happy, fulfilled lives whilst developing their highest selves. And I wrote that in 2021, before I even knew I was leaving the business and going to become a QHH. Yes. And before I knew I was going to become a QHHT practitioner. In 2021, I wrote that.
Do you think your higher self wrote that?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. That's interesting, isn't it?
Definitely. So I feel everything that's happened to me throughout my life, through, working in the business, which, like you say, working with family is like really challenging, and all the other stuff that I've gone through in my life, to even the skills that I've learned in my career with marketing and branding and how to communicate. Because I used to speak at events, up and down the country, and write for different magazines as well in the facilities management sector. It wasn't, but so I think all of those skills that I've learned over the years, and all of the life challenges that I've come up against, have all brought me to this point then, where I can then use them all. I can use them all to support people and help people. And that was a conscious decision then in 2021 that I wanted to live my life to help other people. And so the first thing that I did was I took on an apprentice at my work, because I was the only one that did the marketing, though I didn't have a department or anything. It was just me and I needed help. So I took on an apprentice and I poured as much love as I could into him. So much so then the following year, I put him forward for the Made in Manchester Awards for Young Apprentice of the Year. And he was a finalist. Yeah, he was a finalist.
Oh, well done.
He was a finalist. And then also for a few years, I've been involved with a charity called BW3, which is Business Working with Wythenshawe, which is to help like the young people in Wythenshawe. One of their main projects, which my family business actually is the headline sponsor for, is the aspirational mentoring. So I suppose you could say I'm kind of like their lead mentor or promoter of it anyway. So I personally, as well as other mentors who are part of BW3, will go into the high school in Wythenshawe, which is called Manchester Enterprise Academy. And we mentor the year 9 or 10 students. And I'm starting another cohort actually on the 4th of November. So I've been doing that for a few years now. I absolutely love that. It's really, it really helps the kids, you know, and I've had young people with all sorts of challenges, whether that is just in confidence or in, being able to work through challenges in school or at home or whatever. But I absolutely love it. And this was another step into living my why, you know, to help people like permanently every day in, day out. And that's what I want to do.
Love that. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. It's been a big process to get me here, but I can see how everything has got me to this point.
Yeah. Now, you talk like I did that for 20 odd years, and then 10 years before that, and one thing and another. I mean, to me, you look like you're in your late 30s.
No, I'm 47.
Are you really?
Yes.
I want to put you at 47.
Well, thanks very much.
You're welcome. No, just when you were talking, then I thought these years aren't adding up to 30s. It's not working out, this. The maths ain't great.
I'm 47. I have 3 children. One of them's 19, one of them's 16, and one of them's 12.
Blinking Nora. I nearly said a different word then. Blinking Nora. Really?
Yeah,
interesting.
I do. So there's been a lot of life experience here, even though it might not look like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know when you talk about your children, from my past life readings that I've done with myself, with my records, my Akashic records, I have been with my children a number of times before. Have you been with any of yours out of interest?
I don't know that. No, it's not something that's come up in any of my sessions. So no, no, but that's something perhaps to explore.
Yeah, we keep obviously having a cycle where we need to change things, so we keep going again. So why not?
Well, and you do find that. You do find that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of feel like this time, with me working more spiritual this time, I feel like I might know the answer. So I'm going to work on that. So what it is, not that we're doing wrong, but what it is we are destined to redo until we sort it out. I sort of feel like I know what it is. So
yeah, I know I've had one with my husband.
Have you?
Yeah.
What in what respect? What relationship?
We were partners again, but the other way round. And I was the male and he was the female. And it's not one that I've seen, it's one that I've been told about.
Okay.
So, but it makes perfect sense. And we lived in probably in Paris. That's kind of what it looked like, apparently. I was a doctor. It was a time when there was horse and carts, and my husband Wayne was my wife. Anyway, I was not a very nice person in that lifetime. He couldn't bear the children. And I wasn't very nice. I was physically abusive, apparently, in that lifetime. But the reason why we incarnated, apparently I died of tuberculosis, but the reason why we reincarnated in this lifetime was because I was very overbearing in the last lifetime, you know, quite a strong energy. I have still brought through quite a lot of that masculine energy in this lifetime. I'm a big character. But because I was born as the female and he was born as the male this time, our energies are more balanced, more equal.
Balanced.
And I had to be the one to bear the children because we couldn't have them in the last lifetime.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now then. Do you know when we spoke last time about you going to Egypt?
Yes.
So we sort of discussed it, but didn't really go into depth. So do you know when you went, were you going looking for something particular, or were it that you just had a draw there and you've always wanted to go?
I just had a draw there. And obviously we did that session just before I went, and obviously I found out that I was a priestess for Horus, and I also did a group regression that Sarah did. Sarah Bressman Cosme in Egypt, and I saw another one where I was a younger, more inexperienced priestess as well. So I've always felt fascinated and drawn to Egypt, and because I knew that Sarah Bressman Cosme and Suzanne Spooner were who are level 3, very well known QHHT practitioners. For those that are listening that don't know that, I was like, I've got to go with them because they do what I do, and they're going to talk about it from that perspective. And the itinerary was just insane. It was amazing, going to everything you could possibly think of, with private access to so many things, our own security. You know, we flew into Cairo, but then we were we flew to Aswan, and we did a 3-Nile cruise, a 3-night Nile cruise as well as part of it. So we covered a lot of Egypt, seeing all the temples and pyramids, and some of the places we had special permits because they're not open to the public, so we got access to them. Some of them we went in after hours so that we could have private access. The temples we mostly went in the day, you know, when other people were there. But yeah, I recorded wherever I went, and Sarah would talk at each site about what each site, you know, from the perspective of what's come through in her sessions. So we're not talking the archaeological, historic, you know, 3D history of the sites. We're talking about the Atlantean influence in the temples and the pyramids, about the energy vortexes underneath the red pyramid, and then in the bent pyramid. And we meditated like everywhere, which was brilliant, you know. And there was 40 of us on the tour. I was the only person. I was the only person from the UK.
Were you really?
Yes, I was really surprised, but you know what? It was absolutely fantastic. Everybody was American or Australian, and there was one guy from Finland, but it was lovely. He just got involved. So some from Canada. So do you know what? There was 40 of us, and I made friends for life on that trip.
Did you?
I did. It was so eclectic. There was a few QHHT practitioners like me, but then not loads of them, because I thought it was all going to be QHHT practitioners, and it wasn't. But it was nice having the mix. So there was some psychic mediums, there was some healers, there was some channelers, there was just normal people there to want to go and do the tour, but from a different perspective, you know. So
Yeah.
it was, oh, I absolutely loved it. I filmed everywhere, and I filmed Sarah speaking at each site as well. And I've made a video, actually, if you follow my socials, for every single site that I visited,
Yeah.
with you know, Sarah's information coming through, and what, you know, I learned there too. And I'm still making the content because they take me a while to make. So
Yeah.
I'm actually still making the content. So, for example, on the last day, we went into the Great Pyramid and we had private access for 2 hours, and it was amazing. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
So did you get anything there? So like, did you get any, you know, feeling of anything, or did you get any like knowings, or anywhere where you felt like it was familiar to you, or you just felt at home, or out like that?
So, I would say I'm not overly sensitive to
Right.
that kind of thing. I wouldn't describe myself as a psychic or a medium. Yes, you know,
No.
I'm intuitive and all of that,
Yeah.
and I've done psychic and mediumship development workshops because I find it fun and I enjoy it. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I'm naturally one of those people that's like walks in somewhere and goes, "Oh my God, I've just seen my past life." You know, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not me. So working with the other people who were around me who were more attuned, I'd say, you know, what am I supposed to, how am I supposed to do this? Tell me how I'm supposed to be feeling it. You know, and you know what? And they did help me to
Yeah.
understand, because I spoke to Sarah about it and she said, yeah, I'm the same. She said, you know, some people are really sensitive to the energies, and some
Yeah.
people will meditate in there and all of a sudden they're channeling, you know.
Yeah. That's it.
And well, that's not what I do. You know,
No.
that isn't me. But yes, there were some places. So in the Serapeum, or the Serapeum, however you want to pronounce it, in there, I did meditate in there, and I loved it in there. It was brilliant. So that's an underground corridor with these side vaults all the way down each side, quite big side vaults. And in each side vault are these huge black sarcophaguses. I mean, far too big for a human, like far too big. And when they rediscovered it, apparently there was bulls, like, you know, bulls like a cow bull.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was bulls in one of these sarcophaguses, but it wasn't a bull graveyard. So what Sarah's had coming through her sessions, and other people have said, because there's Templar Knight symbols down there as well, so they knew that the Templars were using it as well. There's a lot of Templar stuff in Egypt, and is that there was wisdom in these places. And when they're talking about, you know, for example, Giza being a stargate, and
Yeah.
what we were sensing was that these side vaults, and this is what she explained as well, were potentially portals.
Right.
So yeah, portals to, so there are these stories, you know, ancient stories that go back, and that has come through sessions with different people about you being able to get portals to different places on Earth. So you could travel
Yeah.
from Egypt to Mexico,
Yeah.
or America to, I don't know,
Iceland.
Antarctica or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or wherever and then the stargates were the ones that would take you into Stella.
Yeah.
So the portals are a doorway to a doorway, like
Yeah.
here, and a stargate is into Stella. You know, where you're
Yeah.
going off planet, I believe. So
Yeah.
yeah, I sensed that one of them, when I was meditating, I saw that it went under the sea. So, you know, and somebody else saw the same thing. And so yeah, so I can, but I probably have to work harder at it than other people
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's really, really interesting. But yeah, I mean, you know, Sarah's information that she comes through with from the sessions that she's done with clients, and And also, it's like when you look at the pyramids. Well, I'm sorry, but it makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. It
Yes,
does.
it makes perfect sense because you know the stone that was used to make these pyramids comes from hundreds of miles away, and this there's no way that they stuck that on a raft and sent it down the Nile or rolled it on tree logs that all the way there. There's just absolutely no chance. You know,
No,
I'm
they're
sorry,
just
but
in.
it's not happening.
It ain't. My husband's right into this. And he'll go, but you know, with them pyramids there, I'm like, go on. Well, he does a lot of research. He like watches a lot of videos with it. I once got talking to an engineer, and he said, "Oh, he said no. What they did? What? I'll tell you what they did." I says, "Go on." They got it on water, and they did like this water pressure to lift the stone. And one, I looked at him. I was like, look. They didn't know, did they?
No,
They've got some sort of water vice
they're
that
massive.
they've lifted these stones. Like they haven't, though, have they? You know what I mean? No.
No,
Now
but
then.
even down to the and they've oh God, what are they called? Oh what's the stone called in Egypt that you can shine a light through? Oh God, there's a big quarry there, and I went there. It's right next to the Valley of the Kings. Well, anyway, right. Oh, it'll come back to me at some point. But they make these vases or urns, which are fluted at the top, go narrow at the neck, and then flare out at the bottom. So they make these in tiny little bottle form, all the way up to the size of a person. Now, these are all hollowed out down the narrow neck, and then where it then swells out at the base with precision laser technology level accuracy that they said you would need that kind of technology for to get them so exact. So how did they do that back then? Because there's hundreds and thousands of these things.
That's it. It's not been done like that, has it?
No, and
You,
there's
you don't tell
also
me that,
no, there's also a mathematical ratio of how narrow they go and how big they go at the bottom, which again is like absolutely precise on every occasion.
yeah, it's not happening, is it?
No, no,
And we've
absolutely
got
not.
we've got we've got all local folk cutting them with some sort of tool, chiseling them out, and then stacking them one on top of the other.
Yeah, and also the methods towards present day got cruder,
Yeah.
so they were better the older they were.
Before, that's it.
Yeah. And also the statues representing the pharaohs and the gods were also a lot bigger back in time, and they gradually got smaller and smaller. So yeah, so there are the theories and the stories that this wisdom, this technology, and the size of the statues that were represented were of the actual size of the people
Of the
at the
people.
time. Yeah. And that a lot of that wisdom came from the Atlanteans.
Yes. Do you think Atlantis is going to rise again?
Um, you mean the actual place?
Yeah. Well, the energy of's on its way, isn't
Oh,
it?
the energy of? Oh, I don't know. The
Yeah.
wisdom will return when the time is
Mm.
right. And
Mm.
this has come through in lots in obviously Sarah's work, but yeah, a little bit in mine. Obviously, she's had many more years doing this work, so she's done a lot of sessions where that information has been coming through. And yeah, when the time is right, the lost wisdom and information will
Mm.
be returned when they know that they can trust us with it.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's that trust that actually we can deal with it.
Yes, yes, and not not create a reset again.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah.
So just going back to some of your experiences with sessions that you've had. So you've now been doing this for about 18 months and 2 years.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18 months, just over, yeah.
What is, I know we, I know we discussed a couple of your sessions last week, but what is like the one that is the most stand out to you?
Well, I told you about the Pleiadian one the last time, didn't I? I love that
Yes.
because of the
Yes.
message and the fact
Yeah.
that we're in the shift now. So I really, really like that one.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love so many of them for different reasons. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes I love what comes out for the client, you know, the
Yeah.
connection with the higher self is so powerful, and the amount of healing that I know that they're getting or guidance, and it's so clear. Or if I'm able to connect them with a loved one, you know, that is just amazing. But some of the stories, even of normal lifetimes on this earth where, you know, they're in America or they're in the UK or wherever else they might be. Like I did one with a lady who worked in the palace in Japan, in Hiroshima,
Did you?
the other week, and that was really interesting. So I love all of them, but there are a few that do stand out for different reasons. So one of my earliest sessions actually was a friend of mine. So it was actually a friend that I asked, could I practice on her?
Yeah.
And very, you know, very intelligent lady, got a really, really great job helping people. And anyway, I tried to put her under, and would she go under? No. And I was absolutely determined, because I was like, no, I am absolutely getting you under.
Yeah.
And it took me about 2 hours. She was so resistant, and she just kept saying, no, it's not
Yeah.
working, Nina. I'm looking at the back of my eyeballs. I'm here on the bed. Nothing's working. Or else I was so frustrated. But it was one of my earliest ones. So I was, you know,
Yeah.
developing my technique at the time. And I persisted. And when she finally went under, oh my God, was she there? And
Really?
she went straight into the Hall of Records. Oh, and it was beautiful. And
Alright.
the thing is she'd not heard of it before. So
Mhm.
I knew where she was when she was describing it. And it's exactly how I've heard other people describe it, which is like a beautiful old library with
Yes.
oak tables and you know, like 100-foot oak bookcases down the side
Yeah.
with the glass domed roof. She even, when she came out, she even drew the design of the floor tile. So they were,
Yeah.
yeah, they were white marble floor tiles, and I'm sure she described it to me as like a black planet with like a gold Saturn, you know, like a Saturny kind of arrow around it,
Ring.
like a ring,
Yeah.
but like as an arrow.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure she described it a bit like that. And she was describing how the light came in through the light, and then through the roof, and then the dust particles, you know, like shimmered in the air,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a man came up to her called Gabriel, and he was wearing white robes, and he had the sort of a beautiful, friendly, weathered face, you know, like lightly tanned, and he came up to see if she, well, to sort of greet her. And I said to her, ask him if he can help you here today. And he said that he could, and that apparently she was there all the time because she loved knowledge and wisdom. So when she goes to sleep at night, she's always there. So when you go to sleep, everybody like goes off and does their own thing, whether you remember it or not. And apparently my friend is there like often because she loves to learn, which is perfect with the job that she does in this life. So I asked her to ask Gabriel if he could help, and he said yes. And obviously it's full of books, so I know that these are lifetimes. And anyway, he went to find the most appropriate lifetime for her to look at that day. And he went all the way up this ladder. So it was like an old-fashioned library, you know, with the slide-along wooden ladders where you go up and get a book. And he went nearly to the top, and it took him a while. And so my friend and I just had to chat while we were waiting for Gabriel to go up this ladder because we're watching him in real time. Well, she is. I'm just imagining it. And he gets to the top and he said, would you like the red book or the green book? And she said, he's saying, would I like the red book or the green book? And I said, well, which one would you like? And she said, well, I think I want the red book. I said, well, tell him that you want the red book then. So then he's on his way back down. So we chat again for a couple more minutes because we're waiting for him to come all the way back down these ladders. And then he gets to the bottom and he goes over to one of the big oak tables. And there are other people in the library, by the way, but it's very peaceful. And they are enjoying themselves over there, you know, and they're quietly chatting. But we're with Gabriel at this big oak table. And he pulls out a chair and my friend sits down at the chair. And he puts this big red leather-bound book in front of her. And I get her to describe it to me. And she said, I said, why did you pick that one? And she said, because I knew it was my book. And I said, well, how did you know? And she said, I just knew. So I said, well, describe the book to me. So there was nothing on it. There was nothing written on it. But it had like the gold edges. And Gabriel said to her, are you ready to see what you need to see today? And I said, well, are you ready? And she said, yes, I am. And then she opened the book and went straight into a lifetime as a mermaid.
Never, she did not, did she?
She did. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So for those people that are thinking, oh my God, what? That's absolutely crazy. In Atlantean times, there was mermaids.
Yeah.
They
so
were
she's
different
been in
beings.
Atlantis.
Yes. Although her role, so then she was describing to me, you know, her tail and swimming. She said it's so beautiful. It's like shines all different colors. She started laughing because she said, oh my God. She said, I've got a tail. She said, I've not got any legs or feet. I've got a tail. So even she was blown away. And she was resting on a rock in the sea. The land, she was near land, but it was quite a deserted building there. Where she was. Anyway, she was off the Isle of Skiathos, and there was about, how many did she say? About 12 to 15 mermaids positioned at different sites around the world that were there to look after sacred sites. And she was looking after the one off the Isle of Skiathos, underneath the sea, and there was knowledge and wisdom there, and she was there to keep man away. Because if the information got into the wrong hands, she said it needs to be held by women, and it will be held by women again when the time is right. And I said, well, what is it? Is it in an object? Is it an energy? Is it written down? What is this? Where is this? She says it's all of those things. But she said, and I said, so are you there alone all of the time? She said, usually, yes, but if I need anybody, I can call on them. And they did have ceremonial stuff where there would be people, but they would come together. But most of the time she was there looking after that site on her own, as were the others that were positioned at different places around the world. So I thought that that was fascinating.
That's so fascinating, isn't it?
Yes. So the wisdom will be coming back to be held by women.
Definitely.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, I
Do you
loved it.
ever, do you have to, I mean, obviously, ethically, can anybody be hypnotized? You know, can anybody have a session like this?
So we touched on this last time, didn't we? There are, yeah, so Dolores would say, and I would say, yes, everybody can be hypnotized, but there will be some people who will be more resistant to it because they are having too many expectations of thinking that a session needs to be a certain way, or some people are untrusting of the process. You know, they don't like the idea of being hypnotized. So you're never going to get somebody like that under, because they're not going to relax enough to be able to do it.
No.
Some people, they're very much in their left brain, they're analytical, and so they're analyzing everything as you're doing it. And so again, if they're unable to relax their mind and just, you know, go with it, then it's going to be more challenging. So people who, like, for example, an accountant might be more challenging to do than an artist.
Yeah.
Because
get that totally.
They're more analytical and they're more in their left brain, just generally, just every day. And then there's people who, and I did touch on this last time as well, if you're meant to have a session, you're meant to have a session. And what I found with some of the sessions that I did when I was having to do the 25 sessions that you do to, you know, get that first qualification, I was asking people, oh, I'm learning how to do this, will you come and do a session with me? And some of the people that I asked, I struggled with.
Yeah.
Because they felt obliged to say yes, but maybe they weren't supposed to have a session.
Or didn't particularly want to, just like, well, I'll help her out, but fair enough.
Yes, but people that are drawn to having a session, that want to do this for a particular reason, generally you wouldn't have the challenges with working with those people, because if people are, and this is, you know, many practitioners have said this as well, that higher selves will get you to a session if you're supposed to have one.
Yeah.
And they will also make everything cancel. So there was some sessions that I tried to arrange with people that for one reason or another kept cancelling and cancelling and cancelling and cancelling for one, you know, and I was like, what on earth is going on here? Because they weren't supposed to have the session in the first place. So there is all that to take into consideration as well.
I was thinking more along the line of, you know, like if somebody's got, let's say, like PTSD, or are they suitable for it? Or somebody, you know, like under a specific age, should you not? I mean, you know, you hear about children that say, oh, when you were my mum last time, or when I were an old man, or what have you. I mean, we're not going to go around sort of hypnotising 4-year-olds. I don't mean that. But I'm like, if somebody's sort of 16 or 15 that are really interested, would you do that?
If they were 16 and above, Dolores recommended, because like my 12-year-old is desperate to do it, and I've said, darling, no, I'm not going to do you at this age. You're too young. Because number one, you have to take everybody through the death scene. And so if it was a traumatic death, I mean, he probably wouldn't be that bothered. He loves horror films, but but for some children, that might really affect them in a way that you
for some adults it will be as well, won't it? You know.
Although you're not experiencing it in quite the same way as if you were there. Although So it isn't as traumatic, and you can actually take them outside of their body, so yeah, they don't experience it at all. But also they need to have the emotional capacity, emotional intelligence, and intelligence to be able to understand why they've seen something and then how to change that, because it's all about how to help you in this life. So some of it is like quite deep information to better yourself, or advice on steps forward. So is a 12-year-old going to be able to comprehend that?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, not necessarily. So no, not
Well,
to
fair
work
enough.
with a 12-year-old. Yeah, no. 16.
16, fine. So I will tell you, Nina, you've totally inspired me. Totally. And I will actually be doing the training myself. I'm going to do it next year. I'm going to do I'm going to start the training next year myself, because it absolutely fascinates me, does this.
It is fascinating. I know you said, like, before we did our first podcast last week, you said that you've always been fascinated with it.
But you see, I remember having a conversation with a woman. I said, I want to know about all my past lives and stuff. She went, it's not good to live in the past. I don't want to live there. I want to look. I want to look and see. I want to see what it's about. And I've got a real, thing for history. Love it. Love history.
Yes.
Tell me about that. And I feel like if I can go have a little look-see, do you know what I mean? I'm there.
Yeah.
I know when I did my training for my past life readings, where I read the records, I did it that way. And it was interesting how your friend had said she'd been and got the books, because that's how I do the readings. We go and get the book out. Well, I have a spirit librarian, Genevieve, and she goes and collects the book and brings them their book. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you have actually thoroughly inspired me to want to go further into the past lives. I want to do it.
Well, have you had a QHHT session before?
No, but I'm coming to you for one.
You should come to me for one, yes.
I'm going to do.
Special, yes, and experience it for yourself. And I think
and
you'll
what we'll
love
do
it
is I'm
even
going to
more.
record it. I will record part of it, and I'll show people what happens.
Well, I record every single session, so you will get that with the session. Yeah. So everybody gets a recording. Everybody gets a recording of their session.
Right, get me booked in, Nina, because I'm coming. Get me booked in. I'm on my way now.
Right now.
Right now, I'm coming.
I know,
I love it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's so interesting.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me again. Honestly, I love this. There will be a part 3 at some point, because I can't cope.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah.
If everybody's still interested. And in the meantime, if they want to see any of my other videos and past life story times and Egypt videos, I'll tell you again, come and follow me on my Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, which is Tickety Boom Quantum Healing.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Nina.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks for having me again.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.